And I'm sorry that we have to leave in the middle of it, but thank you very much. We appreciate it.
That's okay. I'm a retired public health nurse, so I want you to get your job.
All right, so I'm going to just do a very quick introduction to Phyllis. So I'm hearing somebody's dog barking or something in the background. So if you've got noise there, you might want to mute. I'm hearing a tease or something. Okay, that's better. Whoever had that is gone now. All right, so I'm going to let Phyllis do more of her introduction about her involvement with the Okanagan Rail Trail, because I know Phyllis through Girl Guides. So I could tell you all kinds of Girl Guide history about Phyllis. Phyllis is actually our what do we call them now? Leads, I think, of our trefoil group. And trefoil is basically like Probus for Girl Guides. You know, it's the retired guiders people and all that. And there's the Tillicum trefoil group out of Vernon. So most of them live down in the Vernon area. Phyllis is actually in Oyama, but she's a very active hiker, biker, all that kind of stuff. And so I don't mean like a hog biker, you know, a cyclist. Anyway, but Phyllis has been working with the it's called FORT, Friends of Okanagan Rail Trail, which is the part which she'll tell you about a little bit more down from Vernon south. Eventually, it's going to connect up, maybe not connect, I don't know, I'll let Phyllis tell you, but we want the other part of our trail, and we might see about getting somebody to speak about that. So Phyllis, if you want to tell people more about your involvement, and then while you're doing that, I've got to pull up your presentation.
You do that. I can talk while you're doing that. So thank you for having me. It's nice to tell interested people who like to be on trails about the trails around the Okanagan. And I started with the fundraising when the jurisdictions, Kelowna, District of Lake Country, Vernon, well, actually Regional District of North Okanagan, and the Okanagan Indian Band all purchased sections of the defunct CN rail line. And the rails were taken up by CN. And so what the community and the citizens did was fundraised about, what was it? I don't even remember, 8,088, I can't remember. Anyway, to lay down the bed and make the bridges and the culverts, everything safe for the rail trail. So once that was done, the original board that oversaw all that decided to disband, and the jurisdictions started a committee, and they are the owners of the trail, and we are the volunteer group that the owners have sanctioned to be the volunteer group. So we're Friends of Okanagan Rail Trail. A lot of us.
Phyllis, I have the presentation ready to go. You just tell me when you want it to start.
Okay, I'll tell you when. And so a lot of us were original fundraisers in each of our communities. And I don't know if any of you donated to that, but I'll tell you about donation opportunities for the trails at the end. And so now, being a good old retired Girl Guide, I organize, so far we have 57 trail ambassadors, and that's who I'm in charge of. I train them, I recruit them, I try to keep them happy. I give them fancy little high-vis vests to wear, which I'm going to take off because it's getting hot, because I just did, I don't know, 15K on the trail. So wow. It's not much, but we live up above Wood Lake, and we have e-bikes, and it's still a bit of a hot slog getting up the hill. So that is about me, and I will go to the presentation. Dorothy's.
And I think the rest of you remember that if you want to see the people, you slide the presentation off to the side if you're on a computer.
Yeah, and sorry about my helmet hair.
Okay, we'll see you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You can watch later. Okay, so originally we had presented to the Tillicum Trefoil Guild. Lori, our vice president, had presented, so that's why it says presented to, and I didn't get a chance to change it.
Sorry,
so,
I meant to change that and I forgot.
Yeah, that's okay. You can go to the next slide, Dorothy. So I think I gave you, oh, that's what we raised, 7.8 million. I knew it was a big number. So that amount was used to build the trail once it was bought by the jurisdictions. And there is still a section the Okanagan Indian Band has, and some of the last Kelowna section to Lake Country is not finished until the Okanagan Indian Band and the federal government have an agreement about that land. So that section is closed. People use it, but it's not finished. It's not nice and smooth. Okay, so Fort is the volunteers. We're the eyes, ears, hearts, and hands on the trail, and the board and everybody is volunteer. And that's our logo. So you'll see that logo on our shirts, our bikes, etc. So we have, this is kind of a first vision of what Friends of Okanagan Rail Trail would do. We wanted to make the user experience a good one by having amenities, by having good etiquette on the trail, safety, places to get dog bags and garbage cans and all that kind of thing. So we also we want to inspire people with the stories about the trail, especially through the Okanagan Indian Band. We hope to have some storytelling from their elders on the trail too, because this is their land. The environment, we have a group called the Stewards, the Stewardship Committee, and they want to get rid of all the invasive weeds and help the local plants to grow. And I'll tell you a bit more about the environment as we move on. So we're trying to improve the trail to make it a good trail experience for everybody. And these are our volunteers. We have people that write grants. We just received a big grant from Healthy Communities for our Kilometer Zero. We have a communications person that does our Facebook page, etc., about information about fundraising. The trail ambassadors, 57 of us, we are just ride the trail or walk the trail. We talk to people. We ask them if they're doing okay. We have one steward who's done, first aid and waited for ambulances. And so we have lots of, the more volume we get on the trail, the more incidents we have. So we like to be out there to help people. Okay, Dorothy. So the trail begins at College Way in the regional district, or actually that part, the beginning of this little section of the trail is in the Coldstream, district of Coldstream. So if you're heading south from Vernon, those first lights at the college, you turn left, and that is College Way. And you go down there about 1.5 kilometers, and you would see the turnoff to the beginning of the rail trail. So we had a family foundation from the Wetheralls that allowed for enhancements along the trail. So they started at 3.7 in the regional district, North Okanagan along Cal Lake. The one on the bottom bottom and the left shows Rebelworth, which is on Wood Lake in the district of Lake Country. And we have another one, maybe the next slide shows Carney Pond, which is, no, it doesn't. This is Kilometer Zero. I'll talk about it next. Carney Pond is just south of UBCO in the Kelowna. You can go back to, yeah, that's fine. So this year and last year and this year, we're working at our gateways. And the first one we're working on is Kilometer Zero, which is just off College Way. You can see there in the top picture. And we are fundraising to add to the grants we got to finish off the planting, the artwork, etc., that will make Kilometer Zero a welcoming place to begin a trail ride or end a trail ride. And the Okanagan Indian Nation, or I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, they are going to do some signage there and some artwork, so that'll be great. And the way you say little head of the lake is Kickamplux. Not too hard to say. Other words I'm not very good at. Okay, so the next slide is again about Kilometer Zero, and these are just concept plans. These are not final things that we'll see there, but it all takes a lot of money in development and safety considerations and Indigenous history considerations. So yeah, we work with many jurisdictions to get these things done. Okay, luckily I just work with the trail ambassadors. So the trail is used in all seasons. These are just some nice shots, snowshoeing or cross-country skiing in the winter, getting in the water in the summer, the beautiful colors, the sunflowers in the spring and the fall. So we like to get everybody out there on the trail if we can. Okay, next slide. Those are some nice pictures. So coming to the end of the presentation, we just want to thank you for your interest. And this is another shot at kilometer zero. Just if you're interested in supporting, we'll go to the next slide. I think it is. Are you getting there, Dorothy? There it is. So this is OkanaganRailTrail.ca is our website. It's kind of a tourist-oriented website, but you will find on there about the volunteers, how to donate, any information you want, sort of the amenities around the Okanagan Rail Trail. So the north and central sections, so the regional district, North Okanagan, and District of Lake Country sections are that crushed gravel that you see in that photo. The Kelowna section is all paved. So, bless you. In Kelowna, you'll see other wheeled vehicles on the trail, such as the e-scooters, whereas the north section is more bikes, e-bikes, mobility scooters. There's also lots of opportunity to rent bikes. I think around Wood Lake now we have 4 rental opportunities at Cal Beach at the north end of Kalamalka Lake. There's a rental, at least 1 or 2 opportunities there. So if you're ever interested in coming down, you don't have a bike, you can rent e-bikes or regular bikes and helmets quite easily. And the Friends of Okanagan Rail Trail have a Facebook page. And again, you can link to us through the website. So, and then as Dorothy, I think that's the end of the slides, Dorothy. So you can go back to the group. As far as the connections to other trails, it begins actually in Vernon, and up at the college, there is the Cal Crystal Waters Trail. And that's a nice walking or biking trail as far as you want to go. It does go along the top section of Kukuli Provincial Park and down to the rail trail or to Crystal Waters, which is a road in Lake Country that sort of parallels the highway. And so that's one trail. That's a trail we often do a loop. We leave here from Oyama and go up to Kukuli Provincial Park and then take Cal Crystal Waters Trail back down to the rail trail. It's easier that way with an e-bike. And then other trails through Vernon has been for several years developing a greenway through Vernon, which begins at what's called Coldstream Station on Cal Lake Road, which is just 1.5 kilometers from kilometer zero on the rail trail, Okanagan Rail Trail. And that is going right through town. It hasn't quite got through town yet, but it's a really nice ride. It goes through Polson Park, etc. And then eventually it will link up to the Shuswap North Okanagan Rail Trail, which is the new group developing through Enderby to Sicamous. And from there, you're heading down Highway number 1, across Canada on your bike ride. I don't know if we'll be bike riding by the time the Shuswap North Okanagan Rail Trail gets done, but we can always hope. Our rail trail opened within 3 years of being bought, the land being bought, mostly because we had great community support in the fundraising. It opened before anybody thought it would, and it has had more volume than was predicted. We had more volume in the first year than was predicted for the first 5 years. So it's a very busy trail, and we just love to see more trails being opened for people. So that's my story. If I missed anything or if you have questions, please feel free to ask. If you wanted to come down as a group ride, you could always contact me and you could have a little escort and explanation around Wood Lake by a trail ambassador, if your group is so inclined. So you can unmute and then.
Everybody, if you want to unmute, and if you had any questions about the trail or other trails. Heather, I see you waving your hand. We have to wait for Heather to kick in.
Okay. I know you're way out in the country there.
I was wondering if the Cal Crystal Waters Trail or the Cold Stream Trail, are they good for walking or pole walking?
It depends on your distances that you want to go. So the Coldstream one into, say, Polson Park in Vernon, that's, I don't know what that is, maybe 8 kilometers, 5 to 8 kilometers one way. So you might not want to, and a lot of it goes by Cal Lake Road. So it's lots of people walk it, it's a shared pathway off the road, which is nice, especially for those of us that don't like cycling on roads. That's a nice option. And getting up to kilometer 0 is all off-road also. It's on a shared pathway.
Okay, Bill, I see you.
Yes. I was just wondering, are dogs allowed to go on those trails with their masters for
Dogs
walks?
on leashes are
leashes.
allowed, yes. We have lots of dog walkers, especially down in this Oyama area. And I guess it's District of Lake Country, on all their garbage cans, they also have bags for dog waste.
All right.
RDNO section isn't quite as good, so you'd want to bring some along if you're doing that north section. And then we do ask you to carry that bag till you get to a garbage can. I know dogs always wait till you're about 800 meters past a garbage can before they do their thing. But, you know, nobody likes to see all those green and white and blue and whatever colored plastic bags because they rarely get picked up. Having said that, you know, people talk to me and say our trail is the cleanest trail for the north section and the central section that they've seen. They're so appreciative that it is so clean. The jurisdictions do the maintenance on the trails. So they do the washrooms, the garbage cans. I see the District of Lake Country has mowed along the edges. So I have to put in a request to them. A trail user found a culvert that has a wide opening to it and is concerned for children. So that's where I was today. I just bike down to get a photo of that. So I'll submit that to the district and see if we can get
Mentioned washrooms. Are there washrooms along the trail?
a lot of porta potties along the way. Coldstream, I think it was the Coldstream, no, maybe the regional district just put in some nice flush toilets at about kilometer 2. So at Kick Willie Road on the West Cal Road there. Yeah. So, but most of it's porta potties, lots of them in Lake Country.
Frank, I think you had a question.
Yeah, so we've cycled that trail from Coldstream along Kalamalka, and our intent was to go all the way to Kelowna. And then, of course, we found out that it was blocked at that time through First Nations land. The way you were talking earlier, you said it's rough. But that seemed to be the only negative aspect. Can you actually go through the First Nations land?
As a Fort volunteer, I would not, but many people do. Let's put it that way.
Because we didn't want to ride on the highway. The other recourse is you end up on the highway and at the airport there somewhere. And we didn't want to risk that. So
yeah, so people lift their bikes over the fences or they move the fences. People do that on rail trails all over the country.
Yeah.
But I've said to my trail ambassadors, some of which have ridden on that section, just don't do it with your trail ambassador high-vis vest on.
So does it say no trespassing there? Or,
yeah, I think it does. It says it's unsafe and all that. You know, the rails were taken up, but the big chunks of rock are still there, so it's not so pleasant. And also, District of Lake Country only goes to McCurdy Road. It doesn't go right to Beaver Lake Road. And that part of, so that whole section from McCurdy south to Duck Lake, that's all Kelowna section. So it hasn't been improved yet.
So could you ride it with a mountain bike or is it even rougher than
Oh, yeah,
that?
I'd want to have good tires. You wouldn't want to be on a road bike.
Okay,
But you have to lift it over fences?
I think so.
Because you're not supposed to be there.
The
yeah,
fence, the fence at the north end of the airport, so at the old Vernon Road at the north end of the airport it's a skookum fence. I wouldn't be able to lift my e-bike over it.
No,
okay. And then
no.
But
just
you
one
know,
last-
if you park at that parking lot across from the cidery at East Old Vernon Road and bike into Kelowna and go have lunch or stop at the
Yeah.
lobster truck, that's a long ride in and back, you know, and so that's what we do. We go and park there and we ride in. And
because that's all
over
paid.
30K.
That's
Yeah.
all paid too, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's slick. It's quick and
What-
easy.
So one last question, at Coldstream, there was a lot of work going on there for the last 2 years. That's all done now?
So Coldstream Station, which is on Cal Lake Road, is
Yeah.
a big parking lot, has lots
Yeah.
of spaces. And that's where we encourage you to park. And then you just go along Cal Lake Road and up, turn right at those lights once you cross College Way and just go up to kilometer 0. So they plan on expanding that Coldstream Station, but you know, they can only do it as they have funds for that. So they have big plans for that other than just a parking lot, but right now it's just a parking lot.
Okay, thank you.
And the section on West Cal Road that was so congested or is quite congested, we're trying to reserve that for disabled people and families for parking there. Because
Okay,
it gets very busy and, you know, all the residents get their shirts in a knot because it's so busy.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
The trail is so successful, we have to manage these things.
Yeah,
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 that's right.
As volunteers, you know, we work with the jurisdictions and we tell them, we inform them what the trail users say and want. But we don't have money to do all those jobs, like the bathrooms and that kind of thing. A lot of cooperation. You know, the other great thing about this trail is, I don't know how many of you have lived in the Okanagan a long time or have lived in Vernon or Kelowna, but those communities didn't ever really talk to each other. And that they sit at a table and make plans for this trail is a huge communication boost for the communities in the Okanagan. And having said that, I can't forget about the south because there are trails to the south of Kelowna also. And so what we're hoping someday is that we can, you know, ride right into Washington State. And these are a lot of Indigenous trails and that were, you know, developed by cattlemen, but they were originally Indigenous trails. And so we need to be very thankful for this area that we have had trails here for thousands of years.
Other questions for Phyllis?
The other thing, if you want that section to be finished on the Okanagan Indian Band, write to your member of parliament. And our MP down here, Tracy Gray, is very involved, but I'm not sure who you have up in your area. But it's all trails we use, right? So the more letters. Yeah.
right.
Anyone else out
Mhm.
there with questions or comments or? We, as I said,
No.
we're hoping, it's Lori Postal is, I don't know what her position is on it, gave the presentation with the PowerPoint there. And she gave me the name of some of the people involved with the Shuswap portion from Armstrong to Sycamoose. So Gary, that might be a possibility to get as a guest speaker at some point in the future to find out. But those are,
And they have a good website. They have I think they have a Facebook page too. I went on it yesterday just to check. And they have, of course, a fundraising campaign. So if your group is interested, they're doing things not all by volunteers like we did when we fundraised. I think they have hired some administrative person. But, you know, that section has got some huge costs because of the water it goes along. And that's where our trail was the most expensive also, is dealing with the erosion along the lakes and the rivers and the swamps. And yeah, so they would appreciate some help.
okay. Anybody else out there? Well, Phyllis, I will thank you, and I'm also going to turn it over to Gary to do our official Probus thank you, since he's our official Probus guest speaker coordinator.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you need to unmute Gary there.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was very informative. All leads to some of the ideas that we're working around, health, physical health, mental health, all of that stuff, and being able to utilize our e-bikes or our bikes and our walking poles, etc. So very much appreciated, very informative. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Phyllis, for filling in for Lori and for coming on.
No problem.
Really appreciate
Okay.
that. Thank you.
See you next week, Dorothy.
Yeah, I can see you here at the Telecom meeting. Okay, I'll stop recording.
Yeah, I'm